Okay, so we are going live, and I'm just going to give it 1 or 2 minutes because we're here and we are live. So I want to just say hello, everyone. We are live here now on LinkedIn and in Zoom. If you wanted to get onto the Zoom as well, please put yes in the chat and we can definitely include that for you. But we are here and I'm here with an amazing panel. Before we get started, I'm just going to get everybody just to quickly introduce themselves. So Sylvia, please go ahead.
Yes, hi everybody. Good morning. Thank you for being here. It's such a pleasure to participate on this. Thank you, Janine, for this and the panel as well. My name is Silvia Hernandez. I'm a human resources professional, long-term in the career, very focused on recruiting. That's the passion, people development, and career coaching. So today I help organizations to find top talent and also find jobs for individuals in the market.
Beautiful. I think Sylvia, you're next. I'm sorry, Sylvia, you've gone. It's Stacy.
That's okay. Two S's. Good afternoon, everybody, for my East Coast folks. My name is Stacy Wallop. I'm very happy to be here with this group of people as well. I'm a business strategist and career coach, and I help professionals who are at the midpoint of their career or they've kind of plateaued in their career and they feel stuck, right? They feel unfulfilled. So I help them transition into a position or a career that is just more satisfying and gratifying for them. I help teach them how to find positions that align with their skills, their core values, and their passions, which is really important. So this does ultimately help them find a more fulfilling career and just be more personally empowered.
Thanks, Stacy. And yeah, Tim, I think you're next.
All right, thank you. I'm excited to be here as well. My name is Tim Weimer. I'm the former dean and professor of law at the San Francisco Law School and therefore a licensed attorney. While I was at the law school, the 6+ years I was there, in an advisory role, I developed a career course for young professionals. It's a course that I developed to help these young professionals as they're coming out of law school, entering the workforce, understand their professional brand, what their career goals are, and much like what Stacy does, I help them figure out how to get to where they want to be and set that plan. But rather than mid-career, I focus and help those who are just starting out their careers or are entering the workforce. And so I help the young, enthusiastic people coming out of school understand their professional brand and then set that brand in line with their own goals, their own values, so that they have a fulfilling career ahead of them. So thank you for having me here.
Beautiful. Thank you, Tim. And yeah, my name is Janine. Actually, I introduced everybody, but I didn't mention myself. I'm a confidence and money mindset coach. And as a CPA, I was struggling a lot because high achiever and you still don't get ahead because you think you're not good enough. That's like the imposter syndrome. And so I help now professionals overcome that imposter syndrome so they can get to the next career or else make a transition into something else that they truly love and be purposeful and passionate about. So we are here today and we are going to be talking about a topic that is very, very, very prominent at the moment. And really in this world of artificial intelligence is really reshaping industries. So, how can you harness the power of this to propel your career to the next level? Okay, it isn't just about technology, it's about transformation. And if you're curious about what the future holds, then stick with us. We are going to be asking a few questions and discussing how you can use AI and the impact of AI on career searches, jobs, as well as recruitment. So the first question I'm going to come up with here in terms of what we've been speaking about is, how is AI actually impacting the job market right now? That is a big topic that has been coming up. And the question really is, what is AI doing in the job market? So I've got some beautiful panelists here, and I'd love to hear, like Sylvia, if you want to just get started with, how and what is AI doing in the job market right now as a recruiter? What are you seeing?
Yes, well, thank you, Janine. It is a big topic. As you said, it's very broad. I think I'm going to concentrate in one aspect of the job market, which is the technical aspect of it, and how really the algorithm and the AI has been influencing systems to get people jobs or facilitate the pass through of an application to a job. So having applicant tracking system is a software behind the scenes that houses all the applications, right? This is old news. But now with the sophistication of AI is becoming with even more filters for people to pass through. So, and now with the softwares that help you with this AI thing, it's becoming, I want to say, kind of too perfect. And it seems that all resumes are passing through this application, which is flooding my inbox, for example, with perfect resumes, and then it's giving me more work, right? Instead of facilitating my job, actually is flooding with perfect resumes that are quote unquote somehow fabricated because people want to be passing the system. So they put all the matchings word in there. But by the time you interview this person, the person is quote unquote fake. So it is disturbing the market to that sense. On the other front, talking about the resumes from the candidate's perspective, they feel that everything needs to be perfect. So they kind of give the job to AI to write down the whole story of their journey. And that is also fabricated. So when it gets to me, I see that thing so beautiful that I said, you know what, this is not going to work because this is not you. So it is important to bring also the human factor to this. AI can certainly help you, absolutely, can navigate through the how the grammar works or how it makes sense for you to tell your story, but you need to put your own words as well. Very important. So it should be a mix in there. I ask the candidates at this point just to bring both things, a little bit of technology, but also a little bit of you. This is a little bit disrupting right now.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that, Sylvia, because one thing as a hiring manager that I always looked at as well, it's just not necessarily how perfectly you state your skills or talent, or do you have every skill that I'm looking for in the job rec, but I'm also looking for authenticity. I'm looking for your personal brand. I'm looking for how you present yourself, which is just as important. Are you coachable, right? Which is just as important as do you have all of the skills that I've listed that I need for this job rec. So to your point, I think that over relying on AI for resume writing kind of kills that authenticity and also doesn't allow the hiring manager to get a sense of who that person truly is and other things that they could bring to that position that just not necessarily are skill related.
Yep, well said.
Yeah, and I would say I encourage these young professionals to do the same thing. Don't, especially these younger folks just come out of school, they have access to the technologies, they're super comfortable with them. And so it's very easy to fall into the trap of, oh, here's the job description, here's the kind of a resume, write me a new resume that matches this job and I'll submit it. But when you do that, you get this AI canned language. It's too, you're right, it ends up being too perfect. And anybody who reads these on a consistent basis, reads resumes on a consistent basis, will know if this is AI generated. And so, one of the things I encourage all of these young professionals, and even if you're in your mid or later career, write your own master resume first in your own words with all of your skills. And then you're going to take that master resume and match it to each job. And you can use AI as a tool here to help you match your skills to the job and maybe even refine some of the language, but make sure that if you're using AI in that manner, go back through and make sure that what's on the page is from you, from your point of view, in your voice, in your language. So the AI is great to help you get some matches and to really fill in some things maybe you've missed. But you need to go back and rewrite and edit that resume so that it is you speaking, not the machine.
Yeah, Tim, and I totally agree with everybody on the panel. It's really, I just even think about myself. It's like, when I walk into a room, do I want people to actually enjoy me in authentic or just about me? Like, do they want to know me or do they want to know a machine? And really, it's about knowing me because then I can be authentic. Stacey, you were talking about that authenticity. When we write that resume based on a heart-centered place, which is a lot that I speak about, is when you lead with love, you always come to that place where people can feel it. There is an energy about even words, that come through as you write them and put them on the paper. So, when they come from your own heart and you write those words, AI is a machine, it has no emotion and it can't express that in your resume. So it's so important to write from your heart. It is really so powerful. I love this topic because it's key. And the next thing that I really also wanted to talk about is in terms of our panel here is how is AI currently being used by employers? In the hiring process. And Sylvia, I know that you're a recruiter, so I'd love to hear from you first.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there is a little bit of catch-22 here. So going back to what you said, writing with love and Stacey with authenticity, I couldn't agree more because you really feel those things by the time you interview the person live because a paper accepts everything. Even if it's the perfect one, you see that it's fabricated, but you test or pressure the person on the interview, and then you know how much the person knows. But the catch-22 is in the hiring process, as you brought this, Janine, at the same token that we are writing with love, the system doesn't know how to write with love and also to capture with love. And from the job seeker perspective, what they want is really carve a moment to be seen, which is very difficult today. To be to the hands of a recruiter today, the competition is so high that it is difficult. So they need to pass several steps in order to get there. Where AI comes to play is there is a forcing exercise today using AI to matching the words for you to pass the system. So there is this urge first to get an opportunity to pass the system so you can sell yourself and then talk with love. So the hiring process now is really tricky because at the same token that you want the candidates to be authentic, they need to fake somehow to pass a system that is dominating the market. There is no company that I know today, unless it's very small, that does not use ATS, applicant tracking system. And the tendency is to get even more and more and more sophisticated. So it is really tricky here for the candidate's perspective, because I'm the one expecting them to be savvy on the AI, but at the same token, I'm expecting them to be themselves. And if they are themselves from the system's perspective, they're not going to pass. It is a mix, absolutely a mix.
Yeah, I
Wow.
think, Sylvia, what you said, it's so important to recognize we have to balance this. So we had a discussion, well, I guess about 2 months ago, Sylvia, where you had mentioned the fact that AI is here. There's no way around it. We have to accept that it's here, and we need to understand how to work with it. And I was kind of on the dark side of the AI at the time, a little bit. Some of my comments were at least, and that's something that we have really come to understand over the last couple of months since you brought that up. Is it is a balance here between using your own personal skills and those talents and things that you have in writing and presenting yourself, which is what we teach. How do you present your brand? How do you create that brand and present it? And using the AI to enhance that brand, right? If you go too far on the AI side, you no longer have a brand. You're just that AI generated thing. If you go too far on the non AI side, now you don't have enough connections. And so we have to find that balance in the middle. And that's tricky because it depends on the industry, it depends on the person, it actually can depend on the company and the job itself on where that balance falls.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also to your point, Tim, just about like how do you present those skills on a resume, right? Sometimes people, when they get to that point where they just feel stuck in their career, like they don't know what next step to take or what they're even good at anymore. I think AI really is good for trying to give you that kind of starting point or that blueprint to just help you brainstorm a little bit. You're saying, hey, I'm good at this. What would you call this? Or, I've had success in doing this. How would you capture that or actually present that on a resume? So I think using AI to just help you brainstorm and really be able to present those skills well on your resume is really big, as well as even sometimes just career exploration, right? Sometimes, like, my clients, where they're feeling stuck, they don't know what they want to do because they know maybe what their passions are, what they're good at, but they're like, well, how does that correlate into a career? How does that correlate into another position, right? So AI can also be very useful in giving that person a blueprint to do skills assessments based on their talents, based on their core values, based on their passions, to give them an idea or a pathway of where they may thrive, what career may best suit them that they can thrive in.
Yeah, that's so powerful, Stacey. And I think all of you have, shared so much valuable information here. And the other thing that I also wanted to bring into this is a little bit about mindset. It's not spoken about very much, but mindset is such a key thing to it because, I've been speaking a lot, to a lot of my clients and talking about leading with love and how words are energy and how that vibration of energy also attracts that. So when you go and be writing out a resume, if it's all just dark and bland and, so plain and simple cookie cutter, there's no energy or frequency moving with that. And if, I share an analogy quickly about my mom. If I'm on the phone with my mom and I dial the wrong last digit, I'm never going to get a hold of her. But if I have all of it in place and I show up with that confidence when I'm doing my resume using AI and then looking at what the recruiter might want, combining those and then, really making it so unique and filled with whatever it might be in terms of customized using AI as a help, that again will help it to be more powerful in terms of presenting it. And you feel confident and excited about sending that type of resume, right? You're not scared and thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to know that it's AI. You feel confident, and your confidence, when you send a resume that you've written out with confidence, that confidence comes out in the resume somehow. I don't know how, but it does.
We see one comment on that, Janine, is we can see literally on a resume when there is passion behind the scenes. And not only comes through the words of a paper, depending on the person writes, if it's really writing with love, let's put AI aside for the moment, but we can see that transpiring in an interview. I want to say that a good recruiter, an experienced recruiter, will feel through that conversation if the person is really looking for the next career opportunity or just a job. And that is transpired through the wording, through this, what you're bringing. It is how confident the person is and how much they are hungry for that because they're going to make them better and contributing to everything they wanted to do. We can see right there. There is a big difference on when you write resume with the passion or just looking for getting the next paycheck. Well said.
You said something very key there, Sylvia, about understanding your career itself. Stacey mentioned this at the beginning that she really focuses on helping people refocus on their career. And I'm at the beginning of that where I help people focus on their career. If you don't have a career goal in mind, it's just wandering around in the dark. You can't get that passion. But if you can say, this is where I want to go, and Tony Robbins talks a lot about having a focus. Where do you want to be? Focus on the end. One of his latest things he's talked about is leadership and how leaders, they know the result they want. They don't know anything in between. They just know where they're going. And because they're so focused on the results, everything else can come into play and they stay focused and it gets them to where they want to be. And that's what you're talking about here with the resume is if you've got that focus of where you want to be 10, 15, 20 years down the road, boy, that helps you focus in and bring the passion with you. So whatever the tools are, it doesn't matter now because you're focused, you've got that passion built in, and it puts you in the right place when whatever it is, whether it's a cover letter, a resume, or something else.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that, Tim. It's like so amazing. And it's also about the practice, right? Like you see professional basketball players, they are shooting that same hoop like thousands and thousands and thousands of times. And so when it comes to resumes and using AIs, it's not about applying for one or two jobs with AI, but really practicing and refining the way you create your resume for a particular job, but knowing your goal, knowing the end goal, because then you can refine what you're going to put in the next resume in terms of how you are going to shine through that, your experience, your knowledge, your wisdom. Wow, so, so powerful. Such great tips. I really love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even added,
Sorry.
oh, and I was going to say, even added to that, with what you're saying, the great part about AI is that if you're a little bit uncomfortable, maybe you want to write in a little bit more, a little easier style. Maybe you want to be able to communicate a certain emotion or whatever. The great thing about it is you can use AI. You can say, hey, help me rewrite this sentence or this paragraph or something like that, in this state where I can really allow my resume to show my passion or show my love, right? So that is also a great thing about AI is even if you're unsure how to write it and present it in maybe that emotional state that you want to, AI can help you with that too.
Beautiful.
I'd just like to add one quick thing, Stacy, is a kind of an asterisk to that. You still have to go in and make sure it's out of your voice. My wife had a really, I don't want to say hysterical thing that happened a couple of weeks ago, but she was looking at a new job. So she wrote her cover letter and she didn't like it. So she asked AI to help her rewrite it. And it was great. It spit back this really nice letter based on what she had already put into it. And she started reading it and she started to laugh. And she's like, I would never speak like this ever. And I said, well, you got to go in and rewrite it in your language, but it's giving you the framework that you need. And that's what you're talking about, Stacy. I just want to
Absolutely.
reemphasize here
Yep.
that balance that it's great to help you refine things, just like you're saying, help me rewrite this sentence, but make sure the words in that sentence fit who you are,
Absolutely.
not the AI, because that's the simple trap. Oh, I love how that's worded.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. If you're asked, you would never speak like that, right? So we have to
Yep,
take this to everything.
Yep, it's all about authenticity. At the end of the day, you have to remember that you have to be authentic. Yep.
Yeah. One comment, you brought something about cover letter, Tim. So just a tip to the audience here in terms of cover letters, right? So I have to say this from the recruiting perspective, don't waste time with cover letters because nobody reads it. People will barely read your resume. Actually, it's not a reading process, it is a scanning process. Let's start from there. The average is 10 seconds to scan. But when it comes to cover letters, people, of course, are using AI, and then it's all fabricated. As we know, authenticity is out of the door. If really the job requires a cover letter and they say, hey, write a cover letter, that is important for them. So write from the heart. Don't use AI, because cover letter is not to copy paste your resume saying I am qualified, I'm doing this. No, it's a personal story, and AI doesn't know your story. As much as you can give the tips and then they can build, is not going to work. So it is from the heart, it is from authenticity, and tell your story in the cover letter. Completely different from what it is in the resume. Then we'll make an impact. Otherwise, don't even write it.
I like that, Sylvie. And one of the things that I focus on with these young professionals is how to actually do that, that you can write a core, I would call it a template cover letter that gets your main story in there. And then you have sections in it that you just modify to tell your story that's authentic to you for this specific job. So you don't have to write an entire cover letter for every single job that requires it. You can have a core template, again, a skeleton, and then you're going to insert sections again, but you need to write that match this job of why you're excited for this particular opportunity. And like
Exactly
we've all
right.
said, it has to come from the heart. Otherwise, it's the canned version that someone reads and goes, yeah, this was what everybody else has done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly
that
right.
is so powerful. And really this is beautiful because it segues right into the next part that I was like looking at and we were sharing about is like relationships. Like this is such a powerful thing. And if I just think about relationships, I'm like, would I want to have a relationship with me? It's like that's a
Good
powerful
question.
question. So, what is that relationship you want to have with your company? Do you want to be fake all the time? That's so much hard work. And when we come into building relationships, coming into this now is how do you network then on LinkedIn and build those relationships? Right? That is, the next thing, and it's a big thing now. It's not just about connecting with all the people and having thousands and thousands and thousands of connections. It's deeper and it's beyond that, right? So, here's the question to our panel. How do you network on LinkedIn to create the relationships, to be seen and heard?
Well, let me start with this. Again, from the technical aspect, right? So there are several, I want to say, purposes to network on LinkedIn, and everybody has different ones, but focusing on the job market, right? So from the technical aspect of things and in the algorithm perspective of things, networking on LinkedIn is not only adding connections. Actually, people say the more you have, the more exposure you have on LinkedIn. I do not agree with that. I have a different opinion on this because when you understand how the algorithm works, actually it will go against your job search. And then let me give you the perfect example. If you have 10,000 connections on LinkedIn and then you try to be seen, and the goal is to get yourself to a feed of a person, right? The way the algorithm works, of course, the more you interact, the more your page is going to show up in somebody else's page or your networking page. If you have too many, the system cannot keep up. I shouldn't say the system cannot keep up. The system can't have that capability, but there is no enough time to post your content in your target audience all the time because you have too many people. And there is no enough time for the system to do this, if that makes sense. So actually less is better, or targeted audience for what you're looking for is better. So how do you really effective network? So if you're looking for jobs in specific industries, focus on those people that belong to those industries, or focus on recruiters that recruit for that particular industry, because it reduces the number of connections, because the more is not the better here. So, and people think that you just like things or you just put a comment in there, you are seen. The algorithm doesn't work like that. You really need to work hard. Is really the more you show up, the more your information is spread out there. So it is a full-time job. You need to do this every day, several times a day. I want to say 10 times a day, 15 times a day. I know it sounds crazy, but this is how the algorithm works. So if you want the system to work for you, that's how you're going to be replicated in somebody else's feed for you to be seen. I would start there. There's
No,
so
that
much
was
more on this, but
no, I appreciate you going over that, Sylvia, because I didn't know how the algorithm worked in the background. So having that technical understanding is great, and it actually feeds into what I tell every one of my clients. It's about the human connection. So what good is 1,000 connections in your LinkedIn if you don't know any of them? And I'm
yeah.
going to do a video on this next week. I just recently went with my daughter to Fan Fusion. It's the Comic Con here in Phoenix, and we're standing there, and it's great. All these people are here celebrating the great things about pop culture, the nerdy stuff you could call it, right? All these people in costumes and everything else. And we talked to everybody in the lines. We're all excited to be there. But the second day I stopped and was looking around, I'm like, there's thousands of people here, and we're all celebrating the same thing, but there's no connection beyond that simple little excitement we have for Star Wars or Marvel or whatever your thing is, right? But my daughter and I went to it was a hands-on training on how to saber fight. And we got to know the instructor while we were there. And at the end of that training, I asked for his card and I made a connection with him. And now I'm going to start going twice a week to this saber training group. And they're going to teach me a new skill, right? And I'm going to learn a new skill and I'm going to have a chance to interact with them. Well, what was the difference? I took the time to go to this instructor's class to get to know him. And then I asked for more if I could join his group and get more out of it. That's a network. I got his card, I got his contact information. Now, if I call him up or send an email and say, hey, this is Tim, we met at the Fan Fusion, I'm excited to be a part of this group, he knows who I am. Is he going to be more willing to respond than if I just send an email to the author that we saw sitting at the table I didn't talk to? Hey, I saw you at Fan Fusion, can we talk? You know, you got to have the human connection in all of this. Without that human relationship, it's not a network, in my opinion. It's just a voice out there that you can yell at.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Tim. I would agree with that. And what you've described is cultivating the relationship, right? Just like we do in our personal relationships with friends and families and other, loved ones. We have to do the same thing with our professional network. As Tim pointed out, networking it's a human connection. It's really about being able to read body language, being able to effectively converse with somebody, having EQ and SQ, right? That emotional intelligence to really be able to understand the emotion behind the conversation, and that social intelligence to really be able to interact with people. Sometimes if you're just focused on using AI to communicate or how to say something, you get stuck on that. You're so focused on a scripted conversation that when spontaneous conversations happen, you don't know what to say. You feel uncomfortable, right? And that makes things worse. So to your point, being able to network is a human connection, and it's about cultivating the relationship and really getting to understand the person, being able to shadow with that person, right? Having face-to-face interaction with them, being able to talk so they get to know you, so they get to know your personal brand, which is very important when you're trying to, sell yourself in the job market or looking for an opportunity. So those things about networking it's very important. I know sometimes in our culture outside of LinkedIn, it's more about, hey, how many followers do I have on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram? How many, friends do I have? Blah, 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 blah. But when it comes to this, as Sylvia pointed out, having all of those connections doesn't really help you. It's not just pressing that button.
Yeah, it's so powerful. There's a quote, I don't know who said it, but they say, people don't know how much that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And, building that relationship is like, Tim, you were saying there, you actually got to know the person a bit better, ask for a card, were able to actually then have a conversation and reconnect after that and beyond. Because people really, we are all humans, and people also want to know that you care. And that really comes into the next question is like, how important is it to build a relationship, and how do you cultivate that relationship on LinkedIn? How do you go about connecting with somebody? And then, Sylvia, you were saying, you connect with them because they are recruiters that are in the industry that you want to go into, or they're recruiting for that industry. But then how do you go about connecting with them and building that relationship? And for me, I really think it's about engaging in what they have. Like, you see a LinkedIn profile and you like something about what they do, but be authentic about that. Wow, I really love what you've done with, your career. You've advanced so quickly, or you've done whatever it might be. I'd love to hear more about it. And really, when you go in there with that authentic way of wanting to learn more about the other person, that is how you cultivate the relationship. And those relationships, you don't know who they know and who they can connect you with. So yeah, Sylvia or Stacy or Tim, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah.
I'll just add something. Oh, go ahead, Sylvia. You go first, and I'll add something.
Please, Tim, go.
Oh, thank you. Just building on that, it's about the value you bring to the relationship ultimately for this. You should be trying to bring more value to the relationship than you're trying to get out of it. And the reason for this, there's a bit of a selfish side to this. At some point, you're going to need to ask for something, whether it's a connection to somebody else or some advice or something like that. And people are much more willing to give back to you if you've been giving to them. And I mean this in a good, positive way. I want to bring value because I truly want to bring value to the relationship. But there is a side to this we have to recognize that at some point we need to ask for help, whatever that might be. It might be looking for a job or connecting to somebody at a company, or it might just be some advice that you need. If you've been bringing value to that relationship, it is genuine. My brother's very, very good at this. One of the things that he does quite frequently is he monitors his LinkedIn connections, and then he looks at the different posts that people have in his network. And if he sees something that he feels is valuable to his group of people, he'll actually share the content through his LinkedIn. So he'll say, I know John very well. He does this, this, and this, and he had this great post about this topic, and then he shares it. He's adding value to that person because he shared it. There's a link to that person's site, and then people can go and find out more about what he's doing. My brother doesn't do that to get anything out of it. He truly wants to help that person and bring value to the relationship.
Very good, Tim. Very good. So in this cultivating relationships, and then you mentioned some groups that he shared. One thing from job seekers out there and how recruiters see their relationship, it is really commenting or caring about others are doing in the online world. So we cannot be present in every network function. So now people depend somehow, not somehow, I think quite a bit on the online networking. So LinkedIn has groups, actually hundreds of thousands of groups in all the categories that you can imagine, where people hang out. So specifically for that reason, let's say you are in a pharmaceutical industry. So if you go into the pharmaceutical networking group, whatever, where we exchange messages in there, and where recruiters actually go to very informal way of posting positions that are not posting to the public. And the ones who get the opportunity is the ones that are networking more, because you are so visible. You know the person on the other side, because you've been connecting, you've been cultivating, you've been commenting on things, you've been sharing posts, you are known in that particular group. So if you're looking for an opportunity and then there is a recruiter looking for somebody, I do that. That's my very first place to go, because the person that is more active in that particular group and actually qualified will get my attention. It's where we call the hidden market, right? The hidden market is our positions or vacancies that are not publicized, they're not advertised in any place, is where recruiters go. And the best thing is we do that for free. We don't need to pay for LinkedIn to advertise. The groups are free, and actually it's the best place to go, because the real people that wanted to cultivate relationships, and we can see through the thread, are there. So they are getting their relationships seriously. I would tap to that person in a heartbeat instead of a connection that I barely know.
Sylvia, you're talking about, that's a great example. They're giving value to their group, right? They're bringing value to what they want to do. They're not looking for anything, they're bringing value. And what's one of the benefits here? A recruiter comes along and says, wow, look at the value this person is in the group. And that brings them to the top and provides opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think too, what's also important mentioning, I know some people may say, well, hey, people should know what I do. I'm good at what I do. I keep my head down at work. I execute and things like that. But no, it's a strategy, right? You have to be your own advocate. You have to communicate your skills, right? You have to be able to promote yourself and show the value that you bring to that position, because It's, you know, as we used to always say, you have to own your career, right? And you have to think of it as everything that you're doing is strategic. You're building these relationships. You're taking the extra step to join the groups and add the value, because you're not just, don't get caught up in that mindset that, hey, I'm a great employee. You know, I have great feedback from other people. If there's a job out there I want or a promotion, hey, people should tap me on the shoulders. That doesn't happen a lot, and a lot of times now, right? You have to be your own promoter, and you have to be your own advocate, and you have to take the extra steps to do it. Because even in your career planning, in your career searching, how you approach this also is indicative of how you may actually perform in that position, right? The steps that you take, how much you go above and beyond to show that you bring value, is also something that you want to actually do when you get in the actual job. And if somebody sees you in a group, or they see the value that they're bringing, they're more likely to say, hey, I know that that person is even going to do that in the job, you know, when they're working and things like that. So that's why it's very important to make sure that you're strategic about it and that you are taking these extra steps to be seen.
One little comment on that, Stacy. Will said, I want to go back to what Tim mentioned about having the goal. Without the goal, you go nowhere, because any path is good, right? You don't know where you're going. So if you don't know where you're going, right is good and the left is also good. And then don't be mad or getting frustrated because you didn't have a plan in the first place. So the goal with the strategy, right? It is where you get to the destination. I want to say faster. I want to say easier, because you already draft the plan how to get there. Very, very important. Go together with the strategy will get you to the destination faster and without many frustrations, I want to say.
Yeah.
And I want to just add one quick thought to this. If I said Apple or I said Nike, we all know instantly what that is. If I said Story MFG, who's that? The Story MFG is a menswear clothing line that's a very high quality line, but they don't advertise and they haven't put their brand out there. And that's what we're talking about here, Stacy. Specifically, you were talking about that it's okay to share your brand, because when they say your name, Tim Weimer, I know there's a brand that comes with that. I know that in certain groups, they know when they hear my name, there's a brand that I've built over years of working on it that comes with it. Each of you has your brand, that if someone says your name, there's a brand. That's because you've worked at it, you've put it out there. It's not bragging, it's sharing what your strengths are and what value you're bringing. There's a difference. You can have your nose in the air, sure, but if you're being humble about it and just sharing what you bring as value, that's your brand. That's what you're sharing. And that's what we're talking about here, is being able to promote your brand in a way that when someone says your name, certain things instantly come to their mind and it promotes you because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, Tim, let me add a little bit on that, on the recruiting world and the AI right now, where everything is so similar, because AI writes the same way, I want to say, in the resume writing. So that uniqueness of telling your story, it is your differential today. So the more you show that brand on LinkedIn or whatever other space it is for you, it brings your uniqueness that I'm not going to tap in AI anymore, because there are so many people, or everybody's trying to fit a mold. And most of the time, I'm not looking for the similarities. I'm looking for the unicorn. And the ones that sells or knows how to sell more or work on a personal brand, it is the one that it's shining. That is going on today, because the market is flooded with the same stuff, and it's not working for them. It's not working for me either. Now I have double work here, or go to the places where I don't need to see AI. I need to see people making mistakes, so I know it's real.
I love that, Sylvia. It's like, you want the unicorn, you want to see people making mistakes because the
Yeah.
thing is when you actually see people making mistakes, it's not about the mistake they made, but how they're able to use that mistake or come out of it. And that's really, the tenacity, and it shows character in terms of challenges. When things are going well, it's easy to move forward and go and flow. But when things are challenging, that's when you actually see the true character of a person. And that is what people want to see. They want to be able to know that if they give somebody a task or a responsibility, that they are going to be able to work through it no matter how challenging it gets. They don't want to be there, micromanaging. Well, personally, I don't want to micromanage people. It's like, you go, I give you something, I trust you, you go and you flow. If you need help, you come back. But you got to try and come up with some solutions instead of keeping and coming back to me for what you need to do next. And when you build that relationship, when you show your authenticity, you allow people then to see, oh, those are her strong points, and that's what she's good at. So I'm going to give more of that. And the focus really for me when I'm working with people is to highlight your strengths and your potentials and what you're good at rather than your weaknesses and your
Yep.
pains,
Yep.
right? Because when you work on something you're good at and you're strong at, then it becomes so easy for you instead of a struggle and a challenge. And we all want to be easy. We will all want things to be easy and fun. Less work is better for all of us, right? So, wow, this is so powerful about relationships. I don't know if anybody has anything else to add to that. It's like, wow.
Yeah, or as Dean Graziosi says, right? I think focus on the weaknesses is the biggest lie ever, because it decreases so much of your energy. Because as I believe that I'm never gonna be strong on a weakness. This is personality type. This is DNA. So let's focus on what you're good and become even better at that. And then if that weakness is really necessary, you delegate that thing to other people. But you become stronger on the things that the passion is the love, where it comes easier to you, it comes with less effort to you, and that makes you shine.
So powerful. This has been such an amazing panel discussion and so many different perspectives and so many things to think about, as we come up. Then we're going to be wrapping up really, really soon now. But before we do wrap up on this, I'd really love, for I don't know if there are any questions that have come up. If there are none, I don't know if you see any questions coming up there, or if you've had any, but yeah, go ahead, Tim. Did you want to say
No,
something?
I was going to say I put a note in the chat here. There's no questions at this point.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, I mean, if you do have questions and you are like thinking, man, I really want to learn more, then I'd really invite you to reach out to any of the panelists here. And I'm going to invite them each to really share their experience and expertise and what's coming up for them so that they can help you to move forward into where you want to go next in your career. So, Sylvia, do you want to go first?
Yeah. So on the individual aspect of things, I help organizations as well, but you're talking about job seekers here. So being a career coach is really my goal, to help everybody to navigate through this challenging job market, specifically on the technical aspect of things, and also to know what they want, because without the goal, as I said, we go nowhere. So anything that I said here that can help you, please reach out. I am trying to get these people back to, or the people who are looking for jobs for the longest time, or just lost their jobs, or is looking for a career change and doesn't know how to navigate. So I would love to help. So my LinkedIn is public, Sylvia Hernandez. You can find me there, and then we can chat. Yeah.
Thanks, Sylvia. Who'd like to
Thank you,
go next?
Janine.
Stacy?
Yes. So, And thank you. This panel discussion has been really helpful. It's even helpful for me. There's some things about the technical aspects of LinkedIn and things like that that I didn't even know. So thank you guys for this panel discussion. But as a business strategist and career coach, I offer one-on-one and group coaching programs. I have been my client. So I am truly connected to the people that I help because I have been them at one point in my life. So, I help professionals who want to move past those barriers that are allowing them to have it like they're not fulfilled in their career. I help them move past those barriers, help them get unstuck. I help them identify the talents and skills that they have. And sometimes, honestly, those are hidden skills and talents that they didn't even know they had, right? And help them find positions that not only align with their talents and their skills, but also the core values of who they are as a person, right? Their moral code. Also align with their passions, because what we found is like most of the time, people who thrive in their career and who are really happy is that those positions, they fill their cup in every way, even they're aligned with who they are as people. It's not always about like how much money you make or whatever, but it's about that position really filling your cup at the end of the day, and you're just happy. So I help those professionals, usually more so that kind of plateau comes in like the middle point of your career. Sometimes it's early on, but I'm particularly focused in helping those individuals move past those barriers and help them create a strategy to help them find more fulfilling careers and positions, and also will help them feel more personally empowered in their life. So my LinkedIn profile is public as well. If you would like to book a consultation or a call, there is a link there's a button on my LinkedIn profile to do that as well. And I'm definitely look forward to talking with any of you to see how I can help you.
Thanks, Stacy. That's beautiful. Thank you. Tim?
Yes, so I also do coaching, particularly right now. I'm focused on helping young professionals build out their personal brand, set career goals, and to just navigate that first few steps into your career. The first 5 to 8 years of your career is what I really focus on, helping you set career goals. As Stacy said, I also focus on helping you figure out what your personal brand is around what your passions are, and so that your career has a point pointing where you want to be, so you have a fulfilling career. Right now, I offer a career course for young professionals. And that is something that I developed when I was working full time with young professionals at the law school. I'm also releasing a book called The Career Guide for Young Professionals. It'll be released next month, July, right now. Third or fourth week is when we're planning to publish it. Depends on when my editor gets back. So I'm really excited to be rolling that out as well. And same thing, my LinkedIn is it's public, so you're welcome to look there. My email's available there as well, so you can reach out to me if you'd like to do some one-on-one coaching or just like some help.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tim. Such amazing panelists here. And for me, if you're looking to start learning to lead more with love and more authenticity, and you just want to show up and be you without having to have any blocks or, facades around feeling like an imposter, those are the people that I really help. And if you want to make that change and you really want to just show up as you, then reach out to me, because I help those professionals, especially women that are, high achievers, wanting to take their career to the next level or just find more purpose. Because when you find your purpose and when you find your bliss, everything else falls into place and it becomes so much fun. And one of the mottos I have is fun is part of your work. So let's make your daily life filled with fun. And as we come to the end of this, you can also get a hold of me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is also public, so feel free to reach out to me there if you wanted to chat or if you had something you wanted to discuss. Feel free to reach out to me. So as we come to the end of this, I want to ask each panelist here to share their biggest takeaways or one tip they'd like to, go or share with as we end off here. Who would like to go first? I put everybody on the spot.
You did. Wow, you did. I wasn't expecting that one. Well, I want to say the biggest takeaway for me here is I encourage the job seekers out there, because I'm going to speak from their biggest complaint in finding a job, and is really to navigate through a system that is very cumbersome. It's not fun for them. It brings frustration, and I'm inviting them to know the rules of the game a little bit, because if you know the rules of the game, the way you play is different, and the outcome can be very, very different. If you enter this game without knowing the rules, frustration is what you're going to get. So learn about a little bit more about the rules of this game, which is the job search on the technical aspect.
I'd like to kind of echo what Sylvia said. I mean, my biggest takeaway today was two things. One, Sylvia shared the technical background. It's good to understand how things work because that's the rules, right? The rules are how's this thing working so I can play by the rules. And the other thing that I think really came across today strongly and just helped reinforce what I feel very strongly about is it's the relationships that really count in just about anything you do in life, but particularly if you're looking for a new job or looking to advance your career, you have to have strong relationships in today's world so that you can, for lack of better terms, get around the AI. We can't not ignore the AI, but those strong relationships can help us maybe push past the AI a little bit or get on the other side of the AI, and it is more authentic. And so the relationships coupled with understanding the technologies and how they work are so important.
Yeah, and I would echo that too as well. I think as we become more technologically advanced, it's amazing, it's awesome. AI is awesome, but at the end of the day, nothing beats the human brain, right? Nothing beats you, who you are, your genetic makeup, everything, who you are as a person, who makes you you, what makes you you, right? So I think that for me is the most important, once again, that human connection. But as we continue to move towards in this space of AI, just to always remember that your brain is more powerful than any piece of technology that comes out, and that you always want to make sure that you're showing up as your unique self, just like we all have unique fingerprints and things like that. You want to remember that you are unique, and you want people to see that. So don't get lost in the sauce in AI.
That's beautiful. All of you have like sort of really summed up everything that has been learned today for me as well, is the authenticity, know the rules of the game, and really just build that relationship, because when you build that relationship, you create something that's lasting, not just for a moment, but you create friends as well. That's what I've learned through my own experience in building relationship. You create friendships, and that's so powerful. So I really want to say thank you to all the panelists here, and we look forward to exploring, this conversation and this discussion and this experience again in another time. But if you've got any questions, make sure you reach out to these amazing panelists, because they are such experts in their areas of work, and they've got so much value to offer. So wherever you guys all are, I hope you guys have an amazing day and a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you, Janine.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.